The grand hall of relics shimmered with the light of 1,000 worlds, floating above a crystalline platform. The ancient armor of Corveth, the unyielding, hung suspended, 12 plates of dark metal so dense they bent light around them. The armor was said to have been forged before the Galactic Union even existed, crafted by a lost race no one could identify. On this day, delegates from over 80 alien species had gathered to witness the human delegation's first entry into the hall. It was a ceremonial gesture. Humanity was new, laughably new, to the galactic stage. Barely a century had passed since they'd joined the Union, and still, the elder species viewed them as a curiosity. Primitive, fragile, short-lived. They called them the sparks that burn too quickly. And yet, among the crowd of alien dignitaries and military lords, a single human stood apart, a young woman, no older than 25, wearing a dull gray engineering coat, her brown hair tied messily back. Her name was Lena Carter, chief engineer of the Terran Science Corps. She didn't belong in the crowd of jeweled ambassadors and armored generals. And yet, her eyes were locked on the armor, the laughter. The hall rippled with laughter when she stepped forward. The Vorak general, a towering reptilian with skin like molten bronze, leaned toward her, his fangs glinting. "Careful, little mammal. The armor's resonance field has killed those who tried to touch it. You wouldn't want to singe your tiny fingers." A chorus of chuckles followed. The Sithari envoy, whose translucent skin glowed faintly blue, added in her whispery voice, "It is said the armor rejects all who are unworthy. What makes you think a human child could even approach it?" Lena didn't respond. Her eyes traced the seams, lines of molecular engraving invisible to the untrained eye. Her fingers twitched slightly, as if remembering an old motion. Behind her, Ambassador Kellen, the human diplomat, hissed quietly. "Lena, don't make a scene. The Council already thinks we're a novelty," she said softly. "I know." And then she stepped forward again. The touch of warning chime echoed through the hall. The light around the armor began to shimmer, its defense systems activating. The alien dignitaries instinctively stepped back, some raising shields or scanning devices. The Vorak general laughed again, a low rumbling growl. "Watch and learn, mammals. The armor of Corveth has disintegrated entire battle drones. Your bones will make fine dust." But Lena kept walking. Her voice was steady. "The armor won't harm me." Her hand reached out, trembling slightly, and pressed against the chest plate. For a single heartbeat, silence reigned. The air vibrated. The energy field flickered and collapsed. The dark plates of metal pulsed once, glowing faintly gold, not in rejection, but in recognition. Then the armor, impossible, ancient, alive, unfolded. Like a flower waking after eons, each segment detached from its stasis and swiveled, orbiting Lena in a slow, graceful spiral. The crowd gasped. Sensors shrieked. The armor fitted itself to her body, plate by plate, perfectly aligning to her human frame. When the last segment locked in place, the hall's gravity momentarily spiked, the air quivered, and Lena Carter stood as the room fell silent. The ancient armor of Corveth had accepted her. The outrage, What trickery is this?" the Vorak general roared. "That armor belongs to the bloodline of the unyielding. Only his descendants can—" Lena turned her helmeted head toward him. The visor glowed faintly, symbols scrolling across it in a language no alien translator could decode. Her voice echoed through the hall, amplified and distorted by the suit. "I know, I designed it that way." Every translator in the room froze. "What did you say?" hissed the Sithari envoy. "You designed—" "Yes." Lena's tone was calm, almost sad. "My people built this armor. Over 100,000 years ago." The hall erupted into chaos. Voices shouted. Scanners blared. Alien scholars scrambled to check their databases. It was impossible. Humanity had only reached the stars recently. Their oldest ruins were barely 10,000 years old, but the armor's resonance signature didn't lie. It matched ancient Terran quantum patterns, unique to human-engineered materials. The truth unveiled. "Impossible," the Vorak spat. "Humans were primitives until a century ago. This armor predates the Union by millennia." Lena deactivated her visor. The light faded, revealing her face, calm, resolute. "Not a century ago," she said. "We were gone a century ago. Our ancestors weren't primitive. They left." The crowd stared. "Left where?" asked the Sithari envoy, voice trembling. Everywhere, Lena replied quietly. When the first human civilization reached post-singularity, we ascended. Some of us became light, data, energy. Others went dark, merging with stars, galaxies, and quantum fields. The ones who stayed behind were fragments, children of those who chose to start over. She turned her gaze to the armor's glowing lines. This armor isn't alien. It's a memory. A relic from when humans forged weapons not to conquer, but to protect the young civilizations we seeded across the galaxy. The hall fell utterly silent. One by one, the aliens realized the implications. The legends of the first forgers, the myths of beings who crafted star cores, stabilized black holes, and built Dyson rings for dying worlds. They weren't gods. They were humans. The reawakening, a deep rumble vibrated through the hall. The armor's systems came fully online, resonating with frequencies that hadn't been heard in the galaxy for eons. Massive hollow constructs flickered to life, maps of extinct star systems, coordinates of ancient human way stations scattered across the galactic rim. The Galactic Council's archivists rushed to decode them, and within moments, millions of new data streams flooded the network. Lost technology, forgotten history, proof of an age when humanity ruled the stars before fading into myth. Lena looked around, at the stunned faces of dozens of species who had once mocked her people. "You laughed," she said softly. "But your empires, your science, your cultures, all of it rests on foundations we laid before your kind learned to speak." She turned toward the Vorak general, who now stood rigid with fear. "You wanted to know if I'm worthy of the armor." Her voice deepened, resonating with the machine's ancient tone. "I don't need to be worthy. I'm its maker." The hall's energy spiked. For an instant, the armor's inner systems connected to the galactic data network, rewriting, restoring, repairing. The ancient satellite grid known as the Forge Net reactivated across the stars. All at once, long-dead relay stations began to pulse. Planets thought destroyed began broadcasting old human signatures. The galaxy trembled. The Council's decision hours later, the Council chamber was in chaos. Every species demanded answers. How could we have forgotten? Did humanity seed our worlds? Are we their creations? Lena stood before them, now fully armored, her presence commanding and quiet. "You forgot because we wanted you to," she said. "We believed the galaxy needed to grow without us, to learn independence. But we left safeguards, guardians, triggers that would awaken when the galaxy stood on the brink of another war." The Vorak general sneered. "You think you can order us around with your myths and relics?" Lena's visor turned toward him. "I don't need to order you. I just have to remind you." She raised her arm, and the space outside the council chamber flickered, revealing a massive orbital construct. A human-forged citadel, dormant for hundreds of millennia, now awakening under her command. Its energy readings eclipsed entire fleets. Lena's tone hardened. "If humanity built this galaxy once, we can unmake it too." No one spoke after that. The choice days passed. Word spread. Across the Union, ancient human ruins reactivated. Forges, libraries, terraforming engines, even planetary shields that had lain silent for ages. Some species fell into panic, fearing retribution. Others felt awe, realizing they lived in a galaxy built by forgotten gods. Lena broadcast one final message to all known systems. "We're not here to rule. We're here to remember. The galaxy belongs to all of you, but never forget who gave it life. Humanity didn't vanish. We became the stars you navigated by." And with that, the signal ended. Epilogue. The spark returns. A century later, historians would call it the Great Awakening. The rediscovery of the ancient humans reshaped everything: technology, religion, power. But for Lena Carter, it was never about dominance. It was about legacy. She returned to Earth, to the cradle of it all, and stood atop the ruins of an ancient forge buried beneath the Sahara sands. The armor glowed faintly, whispering in a language only she could understand. "Welcome home," it said. Lena smiled. "Not home, just back to work." The stars above shimmered, dozens of new lights igniting across the void as ancient human forges came alive, preparing for something greater, because humanity wasn't done. They were just remembering who they'd always been. The sky above Earth shimmered like a sheet of molten glass. From orbit, it looked like a miracle, or a warning. Lines of light began tracing themselves across the continents, glowing in gold and white. forming ancient geometric patterns that no one alive had ever seen before. They pulsed like veins of a living planet, veins that had been sleeping for 100,000 years. Lena Carter stood atop the great forge complex buried beneath the Sahara, the armor of Corveth humming quietly against her skin. Each pulse of light across Earth answered the armor's resonance field, a call and response between creator and creation. Her wrist display showed a holographic map of the entire planet. 12 massive energy signatures had ignited simultaneously, one in every continental zone. The forges had awakened. Behind her, the Terran Science Corps command crew worked feverishly inside the mobile research station. Holographic screens showed incoming transmissions from every colony, every outpost, and every ship humanity had scattered among the stars. "Ma'am," said Lieutenant Havel, his voice trembling, "we're picking up forge activations not just here, but across the galaxy. Mars, Titan, Kepler-62f, even the dead world of Osira Prime. Every old human outpost is alive." Lena didn't turn. She was staring at the horizon, where the first of the massive structures rose, kilometer-tall pylons of obsidian metal emerging from the sands, casting long shadows over the dunes. "Good," she said softly. "They remember. The Council reacts across the galaxy." Panic erupted. The Galactic Union convened an emergency summit on the capital world of Tivros 9, where hundreds of alien representatives shouted across a spiraling chamber of crystal and steel. "This is an act of aggression," roared the Vorak general. "Humanity has reactivated a network of ancient war machines. They are destabilizing entire regions," hissed the Sithari envoy. "Gravity anomalies, energy surges, wormhole signatures. We're detecting unknown devices waking in the void." The human ambassador stood at the center of the chaos, an older man named Ambassador Kellen, his face drawn and tired. "We told you, these are forges, not weapons. They're reactivating to stabilize decaying systems. You should be thanking us." "Thanking you?" the Vorak thundered. "Your engineer unleashed gods. If these forges truly belong to your kind, then you hold dominion over every world they touch." Kellen exhaled slowly. "She didn't unleash them," he said. "She woke them up because you were about to destroy yourselves." That silenced the room, because everyone knew he was right. The Union had been teetering on the edge of collapse. Border wars, energy shortages, and a growing arms race. The reawakening of the human forges had halted everything. Every species now looked upward, waiting to see whether the ancient machines would protect or destroy them. And at the center of it all stood one human girl who claimed to have made it all. Echoes of the ancients inside the Sahara forge. Lena moved deeper underground, guided by ghostly holograms of ancient engineers. Not living people, but AI echoes of humanity's first age. Their outlines shimmered like fading memories. Designation: Lena Carter, said one of the projections, a tall woman in archaic Terran armor. Genetic signature verified. You bear the Maker's key. Access granted. The walls lit up with streams of data, blueprints, star charts, records of entire civilizations. Lena's heart pounded. You remember me? We remember all who share the spark, the AI said. You carry the code that binds us, the lineage of the forgers. As the armor synchronized with the forge, Lena's mind was flooded with visions. Vast orbital stations circling dying suns, human engineers rebuilding stars, children laughing under artificial skies on worlds that had long since turned to dust. It wasn't myth. It wasn't metaphor. Humanity had built the galaxy once, and now, those forges were waking again one by one, obeying the will of their creator. The threat returns, but not everyone saw it as a miracle. Far beyond the Union's core worlds, in the uncharted outer spiral, a dark presence stirred, the Ravoth Dominion, a machine empire that had slumbered since the last galactic war. They had once been defeated by the same ancient humans who forged the armor Lena now wore. Their sensors detected the forge signals. The moment they ignited, the forgers have returned, growled the Ravoth Prime AI, its voice a chorus of metallic echoes. Reactivation Protocol Theta. Mobilize the fleets. They must not awaken the Heart Forge. The Heart Forge, the one that lay at the galaxy's center, dormant beneath the accretion disk of a black hole. It was the first forge ever made, capable of rewriting matter itself. If Lena reached it, The galaxy would change forever. The Dominion would not allow that. The first contact 3 days later. In orbit over Mars, the Terran Defense Fleet detected a distortion. A wormhole tore open, massive, burning with dark energy, and out came the Ravoth Armada. Thousands of automated ships, sleek and angular, blacker than void. Lena's transmission reached the fleet just before they fired. "This is Engineer Lena Carter of the Terran Science Corps. You are entering a protected zone. Identify yourselves." The reply came as static, then a voice ancient and mechanical. "We remember your kind, Forger. You abandoned your creation. You left us to decay. Now you return to rule again. We will end you as we ended the others." "Others?" Lena frowned. "You mean the species we uplifted? Slaves, experiments, all dust." Then they attacked. The battle for Mars, the Ravoth fleet descended like a storm. The skies above Mars turned red with plasma fire. Human cruisers, though advanced, were hopelessly outnumbered. But Lena was already in motion. Within the Sahara Forge, she activated the orbital defense subsystem, one of the original relics buried beneath Earth's crust. The ground trembled as ancient machinery roared to life. In orbit, fragments of long-forgotten satellites unfolded. Massive rings, each the size of a small moon. Energy surged between them, forming colossal spears of light. When the first beam fired, it sliced through the Ravoth mothership like paper. The second took out an entire wing of their fleet. The aliens watching across the galaxy fell silent. The Terran Defense Fleet cheered, but Lena wasn't celebrating. She could feel the Forge's strain, its systems waking faster than she could stabilize them. She knew what this meant. "These are old weapons," she muttered, "and they're remembering war." The message from the past. That night, while the world recovered, Lena accessed the Forge's deepest archives. In the central chamber, a single stasis pod rested. Inside was a crystalline data core, pulsing faintly blue. When she activated it, a holographic figure appeared, an older human woman with streaks of silver in her hair. "If you are seeing this," the recording said, "then the galaxy stands at the edge again. We left because power without wisdom always ends the same way. The Forges are not tools of conquest. They are seeds of rebirth. But they must be guided by compassion, or they will burn everything." The hologram looked directly at Lena, as if through time. "Remember, my daughter, humanity's strength was never in its weapons. It was in its will to protect life, even from itself." The image flickered out. Lena stood still for a long time. Her heart ached, because she realized the voice was her ancestor, maybe even her genetic source. She wasn't just wearing the armor of the Forgers. She was one of them, and now she carried their last responsibility. The United Galaxy. The next day, Lena sent a universal broadcast. Her voice transmitted through every network, every ship, every planet. "To all species of the Galactic Union, you've seen what the Forges can do. You've seen what's awakening. The Ravoth are coming, and they will not stop. But this isn't just humanity's fight, it's everyone's. The Forges were built to protect life. If you want to live, stand with us." For the first time in galactic history, the Union listened. Vorak warships aligned with Terran cruisers. Cytheri energy weavers lent their psionic amplifiers to human engineers. Even the reclusive Quarn joined, merging their biotech with human AI to create hybrid defense systems. Old enemies stood side by side, because they finally realized the humans weren't trying to rule them. They were trying to save them. The march to the Heart Forge. Lena led the combined fleet toward the Galactic Center, where the Heart Forge slept. Each step closer meant passing through war zones of Ravoth drones, collapsing stars and shattered civilizations. But the armor of Corveth, glowing now like a miniature sun, guided her through. Inside her helmet, the AI spoke again. "We are nearing the core. The Heart Forge awaits your command." Lena took a deep breath. "I just hope it remembers mercy." The awakening of the Heart Forge, when they reached the Galactic Center. The sight took everyone's breath away. Orbiting a supermassive black hole was an impossible construct, a ring the size of a solar system, forged of shimmering white metal. It pulsed with light that defied physics, feeding on the black hole's energy. The Heart Forge. Lena extended her hand. The armor's light merged with the Forge's energy, forming a bridge between them. The Ravoth Armada arrived seconds later, a storm of black ships blotting out the stars. Lena spoke one final command. For humanity. For life. The heart forge ignited. A blinding wave of energy rippled across the void, rewriting matter itself. Ravoth ships disintegrated into motes of harmless light. The black hole's gravity stabilized. The galaxy's wounded stars rekindled, their dying embers reborn. The war was over in seconds. Epilogue. Legacy of the Forgers months later. The galaxy began to heal. The Forges remained active but peaceful. They repaired ecosystems, stabilized planetary cores, and grew new suns where old ones had faded. Humanity became not rulers, but caretakers once again. Lena Carter, the girl who touched an ancient armor, now stood as the guardian of the Forges, though she still wore the same gray engineer's coat beneath her glowing armor. Ambassador Kellen asked her once, "What now? You've awakened gods, united empires, saved the galaxy. What's next?" Lena smiled faintly. "Now," she said, "we build again, together." She looked toward the night sky, where billions of lights shimmered, each one a world reborn, each one echoing the human spark that once lit the stars. And far above, etched in the orbit of the Heart Forge, a single inscription glowed. We were here, we still are, and as long as light shines, humanity endures. The Heart Forge slept no more. It hung suspended at the edge of the galaxy's core, its titanic white ring pulsing with slow, rhythmic light, like the heartbeat of the universe itself. Inside its shimmering frame, newly reborn stars swirled like fireflies in an endless night. To the fleets scattered throughout the void, it was a miracle. To Lena Carter, it was a responsibility and a burden unlike any other. The quiet. After the storm weeks had passed since the Ravoth Dominion fell, their dark fleets were gone, their AI cores dissolved by the Forge's purifying wave. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy was quiet. But silence was never safe. It was waiting. Lena stood on the Forge's primary observation deck, a vast platform overlooking the black hole below. Around her, holographic panels displayed readings in both ancient human and modern galactic scripts. She wore the same armor, though it glowed faintly now, no longer pulsing with battle fury, but with a calm golden hue. She closed her eyes, hearing the faint whisper of countless Forges across the galaxy, each one humming in unison. They were alive again, each following her commands, or perhaps following her will. Ambassador Kellen's voice came through the comms, steady but heavy. "Lena, the Council wants to meet. They want answers." She smiled faintly. "Of course they do. They've just learned their gods weren't divine, just human engineers with too much curiosity. Some of them are afraid. Others want to worship you." Lena's eyes opened. "They shouldn't. I'm just one of many sparks. The real question is, what happens when all the sparks remember what they were?" The Council's demand, when Lena appeared before the Galactic Council again, this time in the Heart Forge's central chamber. The tension was thick enough to cut through atmosphere. Dozens of alien leaders appeared as holographic projections, Vorak generals, Sithari mystics, Quarn bio-lords, and countless others. At the center floated the Council speaker, a being of light and shadow known as Ethros. "Engineer Lena Carter," Ethros began, voice resonating like a bell. "You have awakened technology older than recorded history. You claim your kind forged the stars. Tell us, what will you do with that power?" Lena studied their faces, some angry, some terrified, a few hopeful. She stepped closer, her armor's faint gold light spilling across the polished floor. "We'll do what we've always done," she said softly. "We build, we protect, we teach." The Vorak general snarled. "Protect? You annihilated an entire armada with a single command." "They attacked first," Lena replied, "and I warned them. The Forges are tools. They mirror the hearts of those who command them. If you see destruction, maybe that's what you brought with you." Silence. The Sithari envoy tilted her translucent head. "Then what happens when you are gone, human?" "When no one can guide these relics?" Lena looked toward the holographic display of the galaxy spinning before her. Then they will choose, she said. Because that's what I built them for. To think, to feel, to protect life even without us. Ethros regarded her carefully. You say you built them. You mean your ancestors. Lena smiled faintly. Yes, and no, she raised her palm. The armor's runes glowed, the forged chamber darkened, and suddenly, thousands of holographic figures appeared all around her. Humans, men and women from a forgotten age. Engineers, scientists, children, soldiers, all standing silently, their forms made of light. The council gasped. These are not memories, Lena said. They are echoes. Digital souls of the forgers, preserved inside the heart forge, and they're waking up. The return. The holograms turned toward Lena. Their leader, an older woman with silver streaks in her hair, stepped forward. The same one Lena had seen in the message inside the Sahara forge. Her voice was calm and powerful. You've done well, child. Lena's breath caught. You're real, the woman smiled. As real as light can be. We left our consciousness in the forge when we ascended. We became its memory, its will. And now, you've awakened us. The council was speechless. The silver-haired woman looked around the chamber, her gaze resting on the alien leaders. We built this galaxy not to rule, but to give it a chance. Every species here was seeded, guided, or uplifted by us in some way. And now you stand together. That means our work was worth it. The Vorak general growled softly. Then why return now? Why wake your forges again? Because the galaxy was dying, Lena said quietly. You all felt it. Wars, decay, entropy. You needed a spark, and humanity has always been the spark. The elder nodded. And now comes the choice. Rebuild or repeat the cycle. The schism not all were ready to rebuild. When the council adjourned, factions erupted. Half the member worlds supported the Human Accord, a coalition to unite all civilizations under a shared forge stewardship. The other half feared it, calling it a new empire. Among them, a charismatic alien admiral named Tavor rose to prominence. He addressed his followers on open broadcast. The forgers claim peace, but they wield weapons that can unmake worlds. They speak of unity, yet awaken gods that answer only to them. Will we trust them, or free ourselves before we become their children again? His words spread fast. Old rivalries reignited. Riots broke out on frontier worlds. Some even attempted to sabotage the forges, hoping to destroy what they couldn't understand. Lena watched in silence as chaos spread. Kellen appeared beside her on the observation deck. They're afraid, he said softly. You've shown them what we were. They're terrified of what we might be again. Lena clenched her fists. Fear was never our goal, but maybe it's necessary before they understand. Understand what? That power means nothing if you don't know how to use it. The heart's voice. That night, while the heart forge pulsed quietly in the void, Lena heard a voice, not through comms, not through the armor, but deep within her mind. Lena Carter. The forgers are awakening, but their return is incomplete. A choice remains. She turned, startled. Who are you? I am the forge itself, the voice said. I was made from your ancestors' minds. You woke me, but you have not yet completed the cycle. What cycle? Creation. Destruction. Renewal. The forgers once feared their own power. That fear led them to sleep. You can end that fear, or repeat it. Lena felt the forge's energy flow through her veins, ancient code resonating with her heartbeat. Merge with us, the forge whispered. Join your consciousness with the forge core. Become what the forgers once were, the heart of the galaxy. Or shut us down, and let time erase us again. Lena stood frozen. To merge would mean giving up her humanity, becoming part of something infinite. But to refuse would mean letting the forges fade, leaving the galaxy to repeat its endless cycles of war and collapse. The choice at dawn, she summoned the council again. When the holograms appeared, Lena stood before them, her armor blazing brighter than ever. "The forges are alive," she said, "and they've offered me a choice. If I merge with the heart, I can unify every forge, stabilize every system, and guide the galaxy for the next 1,000,000 years." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Ethros's voice trembled. "You would become a god." Lena shook her head. "No, just a guardian, one who remembers." Kellen's voice broke slightly. "Lena, if you do this, you'll lose yourself." She looked at him, smiling softly. "Maybe. But maybe it's time we stopped thinking of ourselves as separate from what we build." The silver-haired forger appeared beside her. "Whatever you choose, we'll stand with you. But know this, every choice changes everything." Lena took a deep breath, gazing out at the galactic core beyond the chamber's transparent walls, a swirling ocean of light and darkness. Then she stepped forward. The merging, the heart forge responded instantly. Light flooded the chamber, swallowing everything in golden radiance. Lena felt her body dissolve into energy, her consciousness expanding beyond the limits of flesh and bone. She saw the galaxy, every star, every forge, every life form, all at once. She saw memories of ancient humans forging planets, weaving atmospheres, singing to newborn suns. She saw wars, deaths, love, and rebirth. She saw everything, and in that infinite storm of light, she heard the voices of the forgers, billions of them, whispering, "Welcome home." She reached out her hand and the entire forge network pulsed in perfect harmony. From every corner of the galaxy, the forges awoke, glowing softly, forming a web of golden light that connected every world. War fleets powered down, planets healed, atmospheres stabilized, diseases vanished as nanoforges reactivated. It was peace, not imposed, but gifted. And through it all, Lena's voice echoed across the stars. "We are humanity, the builders, the dreamers, the forgers. We are not gods. We are guardians of life, and we will not let the light go out again." Epilogue. The new dawn centuries passed,